and I'm just trying to help.
What the hell was that?
Automatic quarantine must have tripped when the filtration system restarted.
I don't need this shit.
Everybody relax.
I'm trying to help. I do the best I can, folks. I swear I do. I do the best I can.
What the hell? I don't know. Something's in the room with us.
Here, hold on.
No! Oh, I don't believe this!
Got it!
Isaac, get the hell out of there!
The door's unlocked! Run!
What did I do to my life?
Get the hell out of there!
I'm in hell! Somebody shoot me! No! Ah! I don't want to live! Oh, thanks for the visual!
Okay. Well, that escalated quickly. Greetings all, my name is Kontrol. I'm a professional artist, a huge fan of old school Marvel and DC comics, and a systems engineer working for the Concordance Extraction Corporation. Physically, I'm a bit different from the other employees at CEC. I'm about 6 feet 190 pounds, where everyone else is about a pile of dismembered body parts. Yeah, it's a pretty hazardous work environment. Pretty high employee turnover, yes, but if you can blast your way to that 2% survival rate window, you qualify for your own Galaxy-class company space Porsche. Perfect for trips to the supermodel planet of Proxima 7.
Control. If you're going to pretend to have an interesting job, it should probably be something that actually exists in current year.
I'm sorry, did I say I was a systems engineer for the Concordance Extraction Corporation? I meant I'm an engineer in subterranean sanitation.
No one under 40 gets that reference. I told you to look at the channel demographic.
Well, being an old timer meant that in 2008, I was able to play Dead Space on my Xbox 360 without the approval of mommy and daddy. And make no mistake, I would personally object to anyone under 13 playing these games. See, some games feature brutality and gore. Brutality and gore are the driving force of Dead Space. These devs have a real fetish for it, and not in a tongue-in-cheek Mortal Kombat kind of way. For those not in the know, the first Dead Space came out in 2008 under Electronic Arts Publishing, as an answer for Capcom's mighty Resident Evil series. In fact, the story goes, developer Visceral Games was originally intending to make a sequel to System Shock, but changed gears after getting a load of Resident Evil 4. Anyone who played Dead Space 1 at the time of its release could easily see the Resident Evil inspiration, but Visceral Games took the opportunity to actually improve on the shooting mechanics by allowing the main character, Isaac, to move while aiming. And let's face it, in gaming, copying the success of popular licenses has been par for the course from the start. Dead Space is a clone, but an expertly made one, which is frankly more than enough for gamers. Come on, we eat up sequels and remakes like free donuts in the meeting room. If it's fun, keep it coming.
Ooh, that's going on a t-shirt.
Now, in my mind, Dead Space was a hugely successful game. The stellar reviews, the hype in game magazines and websites, and the fact that all my friends were playing it gave me the distinct impression. But, in fact, the original Dead Space sold about 2 million copies. Good, but not the blockbuster EA was hoping for. Dead Space 2 arrived in early 2011 with a bigger scope and budget, and actually doubled the first game's sales. From my point of view, the sequel is far more polished than the original. It was enhanced quite a bit by giving the hero Isaac a speaking voice and a wider variety of outfits. But apparently the all-around improvements and increasing popularity still wasn't hitting EA's profit goals. So, Dead Space 3 was produced with a smaller budget, along with paid microtransactions to upgrade your combat loadout. A big ol' survival horror action game no-no, which proved to be the death blow for the series when Dead Space 3 underperformed the previous game. Hit me with some sad music, William. Enough! Now, this is where it gets interesting for me. I personally blew off Dead Space 3. I haven't played it, and not because of microtransactions. The truth is, I knew about halfway through Dead Space 2 that it was probably the final game I would be playing in this series. Now understand, Dead Space is a series seemingly tailor-made for horrific gore montages put together by outraged moms and congressmen. It takes place in a strange reality where all life forms are made from Rice Krispies and shatter into bloody pieces if hit with anything stronger than a rolled up newspaper. Dead Space is about as violent as games get, and that is saying something. But it's not the blood and guts that keeps me from completely embracing the series. I think Dead Space confuses horror with being edgy, and loses its grip on good taste in the process. Now, in saying that, I know full well that not every consumer of entertainment draws their proverbial line in the same place. But for me, there are 3 things guaranteed to garner my ill will. 1. Sadistic cruelty that doesn't establish characters, set the atmosphere, or serve the plot. Cruelty for its own sake, in other words. The movie Wolf Creek comes to mind, and the second Aliens vs. Predator movie. Ugh. 2. Graphic sexual violence that doesn't establish character or serve the plot. Now I'm thinking of The Hills Have Eyes. Now I'm making a face. And number 3. Depicting atrocities against small children. Something Dead Space 1 dabbled in, and Dead Space upped the ante into outright perversity. I'm not suggesting children are off limits in dark themed stories. Game of Thrones, Revenge of the Sith, even the original Jaws. They put kids right in the grinder. What they don't do is employ small children for cheap shock value. So while I enjoyed Dead Space 2 in spite of this lapse in judgment, it felt like the envelope was moving in a nasty direction. Moving on. I feel like the normal plot synopsis segment of my videos isn't really necessary here. Anyone who's seen any sci-fi or horror flick in the last 50 years can guess the basic gist of it on sight. Some horrible evil force has been unleashed on a space outpost. Stupid people are in charge, and they will be punished. Cue the obligatory betrayal, and the clever, plucky hero fights through to the end. Obviously, duh. What's most noteworthy about Dead Space is the unusual strategy of killing enemies by focusing on the limbs rather than the head. Isaac fights mostly using his flashy engineering tools. They're so incredibly deadly that it actually undermined the fear factor, especially since Isaac is also equipped with an escalating series of bonus abilities like slowing down time and telekinesis, or kinesis for short. My pinup here is all about the stomp. Isaac crushes enemies under boot with the impact of 10 sledgehammers. I'm assuming the resulting carnage has something to do with gravity function or something, I don't know. It's fun, and more importantly, I can draw it. Anyway, much like Isaac Clarke himself, you've made it through to the end, and thank you so much for that. If you enjoyed this video, you'd really help this channel out by liking and subscribing. Leave a comment, and let me know what games or characters you'd like to see up here on the channel. How do you think Dead Space ended up here?